All right, I'm telling you, this might be my most exciting video ever. And that's saying something because these are two very unattractive people that I'm doing this video.
I agree. I agree with you for the first time.
Dr. Jim and my good buddy Steve Callaghan. This is a great story. Steve and I have been close. Well, we've been friends for probably like 15 years, but we've gotten really close over the last, I want to say, 4 or 5, with our kids both playing college ball. We've got that dynamic going. We've kind of talked a lot over the last 4 or 5 years, almost stay in touch, at least on a weekly basis. Got you involved in taking pro-arginine about a year and a half ago. You've been taking it religiously. The guy in the middle is Dr. Sandberg. Some of you may have seen him on some of my videos. Doc is one of the brightest clinical nutrition minds I've ever known.
Keep going. Keep going.
Currently lives in Colorado. Originally from South Dakota, transplant to California, and now settling in Colorado. Chiropractor of almost 3 decades. Tremendous experience in the pro-arginine business. I believe it's closing in on 10 years, right, Doc? Almost a decade?
Yeah, it is.
Thousands of patients, hundreds of other doctors that he's introduced to the product. So why is Dr. Jim and Steve on this video? About a month ago, in fact, not even, I get a call from Steve, who's a little alarmed. And Steve, I'm going to let you tell the folks about that phone call and why the alarm bells are ringing. So go ahead.
All right. So I had lost my COVID weight basically since May or June. Let's call it June 1. And I went for my physical. I had lost about 45 pounds. And I went for my physical fully expecting that everything was, green lit and stuff like that.
What was the original from the
glucose
lab?
This reading was 359. Okay.
359.
From my 920. But yeah, 359 for my 922 blood work. And on 10/5, when I bought the glucose meter that, Jim said, go get one, and I want you to start measuring it, it was 356. So I knew instantaneously that 359 was close enough for government work, as I would say, for a number. Basically, from 10/5, I ordered the berberine, the cleanse, the whole thing for the Biomi, redoing the gut, everything. And like clockwork, every single day, I saw numbers going down from 10/5, and we're at November 1st, and I've just been shocked at how quick my body hopefully is reset. Just amazing. Just absolutely amazing. They call heart disease a silent killer, right?
Yeah.
If I sit there and say, the 2 best things I ever did was go for a physical and talk to the 2 of you. Because if I never went for the physical, only God knows what would happen to me.
Wow. So, Doc, your big thing is the gut program, the Purify Kit. So you immediately told Steve about it. So why don't you share? There's a lot of people out there with diabetic issues, with heart issues, cardiovascular problems. So why don't you talk about why you recommended the Biome Purify Kit and what it's done?
Yeah, and I wouldn't actually classify this as a cleanse. It's more of a gut reset. And I'm going to try to make this simply explained. We see so many results with high blood pressure, high cholesterol, triglycerides, diabetes. I've seen patients' blood sugars and A1C drop in 3 months from their A1C says they're diabetic for years, and in 3 months they're not diabetic or they're pre-diabetic. So it's amazing for helping patients with diabetes. And with adult onset diabetes, let me explain. Your body makes insulin. It's actually making too much. So people that have a high carbohydrate load all the time, when you get those carbohydrates, it triggers your body to make insulin. And what insulin does, it triggers to take all that carbohydrates and even protein that's in the blood and put it into the cell, because it doesn't do anything good in the blood. It only helps in the cell. Well, when your insulin levels are high all the time, then what happens is your receptors for insulin, they become like, we're just getting flooded with insulin. We're not going to recognize it anymore. So your body's, the receptors aren't really taking that insulin and using it to take the sugar and put it in the cells, so it's floating around in the blood, okay? So pro-arginine increases the blood flow, obviously heals the arterial lining, but it helps the receptors to be more receptive to insulin. So we've seen great results with that. I mean, I've seen incredible results. But why is the gut so important. And one of the things that Steve told you is he lost a lot of weight in a short time. And when you're losing a lot of weight and you're dumping a lot of fat, there's a lot of toxins in fat. And what happened is his liver is working overtime, working. One of the things that liver does is takes glucose and turns it into triglycerides, which now you have high triglycerides, but you're not having these high blood sugar levels going around in your blood. So his liver was kind of sapped. But one of the easiest way to explain it is we've known in medicine for over 30 years that inflammation is the basis of all diseases. If you can get one thing for this video, inflammation is the basis of all diseases. And inflammation isn't bad. You know, you cut your finger, you're getting some swelling or some inflammation, it's good. You know, allows the white blood cells to get there to repair it. Or you work out a little hard. You know, short-term inflammation is not bad. That's body's response. But when you get this chronic 24/7, 365 inflammation, that's when you have real problems. And one of them is not enough oxygen. Well, the other one is the gut. Okay. There's something called metabolic endotoxemia. And you're supposed to have these tight linings in your gut. And what happens is because of our food intake and such, they get holes in there. You probably heard of leaky gut syndrome. And basically poisons are pouring into the body and causing inflammation, the systemic inflammation. So the other main inflammatory pathway is the gut. The gut is amazing. So when you can heal the gut, you know, 90% of your immune system comes from your gut. If you Google the second brain, that's your gut. There's this major communication going on. And I would say every single disease process. Bobby, you've seen all these great things with proarginine. Amazing results. I know a lot of them. I've seen them myself. But even as good as that is, we're still missing the boat if we're not really healing the gut. So obviously, if we can eat perfect, great, but we don't. So when you're healing that gut, you're shutting down that other main inflammatory pathway. I think what I'd like to leave with everybody, if you have someone with a condition, proarginine would probably do amazing things, but it really comes down to do the gut program and do proarginine. Knock out both those inflammatory pathways. It's amazing how you wake up and you're not stiff and sore anymore. It's a 3-hour, video that we need to do on just the gut program, And everybody, by the way, has a bad gut to some degree, some worse than others. And because we drink chlorinated water, and chlorine kills the good and bad bugs. We have food with pesticide residues, and it kills the good and the bad bugs. And meat with antibiotic residues and herbicides. We're given antibiotics, when we get a sniffle. So we've all got a bad gut to some degree. So everybody, not even people with conditions, will benefit from this.
So, Steve, you go to the doctor, and they see your blood sugars in the mid 300s, and they immediately tell you must go on medication.
Correct.
What did they want to put you on?
They want to put me on metformin and Jasmarin, I believe is the name of the other one, because they didn't believe the metformin would get it down fast enough. They were very understanding that I wasn't going to go on the prescriptions until I spoke to yourself and Jim, and if I need to go to an endocrinologist, because I felt I put my system some way, somehow into shock by the way I lost the weight.
Now, 350 is crazy. I mean,
yeah.
They say blood sugar should be under 100, right? Or right around
65 to 99 if you look at the blood work sheet of what the relative zone is.
Like 350 is crazy.
Yeah.
So they're in panic. Now, when you push back and said, listen, let me try my shit first, were they like, you're crazy?
Yeah, they were a little bit taken back because she's like, you're not just like at 100. You're not just at 150. Yeah. You're not at 200. You're at 350.
Yeah.
359, right? And if you remember, Bobby, back when we had the conversation with Jim, he even sat there and said, whew, man, that's a number that it makes me a little bit nervous that maybe you shouldn't go on the medicine to help you get that low. And I said, so I really did. I negotiated with, not you, because you really set up the call with Jim, how about we try this for 30 days and we check in and keep a constant messaging going on between the three of us.
Yeah.
And if it's not working, I don't want to sit there and not be a father and a husband. Okay. I need to be here for my family. And everybody agreed, okay, let's try 30 days. Look where we are in 30 days, Bobby D.
Here's a very important thing. You know, I'm certainly not a doctor. And Dr. Jim, although he's a chiropractor, he's not a medical doctor. So he
Correct.
came right out and said to you, hey, he said, listen, I can't tell you what to do.
Yep.
Because let's be clear, I'm not advising you, but if you're asking me for my opinion and you're asking me what I would do, and it's what he said to you. He said, I would get the Purify kit and do it this way. The Purify kit is 5 products. You got the Biome Shake.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Pro-arginine's included.
Yes.
There's the detox powder.
Yes.
Right? And then there's tablets. Or capsules. It's the actives and the balance, I believe it's called.
Body Prime. Body Prime.
Body Prime. So one is the Prime is a magnesium, and the actives are a probiotic. Now, Dr. Sandberg also told you to go with the Body Balance, right? Which is the berberine, correct?
Yeah, it's the Biome Balance.
So he threw that in there. So you did those,
and the omega-3s,
and you added the omega-3s. So here's the thing: like you put some money into this. You spent a few $100, but we talked about this. Like, this is your health, man. I mean, you went in less than a month. You basically got your levels to normal. If you were 99% of America, you would have listened to your doctor tell you, and you would have went out and got those medications, and you'd have been like, hey, this is life. I got to take these forever. And instead, in less than a month, took a natural approach, an alternative natural approach, and you got your levels down to normal in less than a month. It's absurd.
It's unbelievable. And Bobby, like, you know, when you come to your health, and you've preached this to me, money's not the issue, right? If I went on a prescription like 99% of the other people would have, it would have cost me a $10 copay to go on a prescription.
Yep.
But then I got to deal with all the side effects and never get into the root cause of what created the problem to begin with, right? Exactly. So you spend the money on a natural supplement that's good for you, okay? It has added benefits, by the way.
Yeah.
Instead of going on medication that you'll never get off for the rest of your life.
Type 2 diabetes is reversible. There's hope. You know, you don't have to just, listen, now you're a disciplined dude. You're a competitor. You went at this with the right attitude. And it's almost like you hear these stories when people get diagnosed with cancer. It's the attitude that they go at it, right? So I'm beating. Right. I'm not. And you were, although listen, you were shocked with your numbers, but you were very clear. I'm going to figure this out. And you were also realistic. You said, if this doesn't work, I spent $300 or $400 on stuff, and if it doesn't work, then I'll go on the medicine.
Correct.
Here you are, less than a month, bro. I tell you, I knew the stuff would help you because I have so much confidence in Dr. Jim. He's helped so many people along the course of his career, and everybody that I've put him in touch with, and almost exclusively, they all see some level of improvement. So I knew it would benefit you somewhat, but to think, we were talking, me and you were talking, hey, maybe give it 3-4 months.
Yeah. Right. I mean, it's incredible, Bobby, because if you would have told me that I would have been at 150 in 3 months, I would have been thrilled. Yeah. Okay. And I was at 220 after a week. Right. And I'm sure when I go back for my blood work, it's going to be phenomenal. The bottom line is what you've alluded to here. There's alternatives. And if you just sit there and give yourself and your body a chance to reset and follow it by the book. And by the way, I didn't starve myself. Right. Okay. I just adjusted. I ate like a human being. Okay. I didn't do anything drastic.
Nope.
Okay. But what this proves to me is that you have to have the right program, the right people supporting you. Okay. And the amount of support that you gave me, and you sat there and said, Steve, I will sit there and kick you right in the ass if you don't get on a call with me and Sandberg before you sit there and take one pill. Please give it a chance. Yeah. Okay. And for that, I owe you and Jim everything. Everything. And Pro Arginine, I was taking, 2 doses a day anyway.
Yeah.
So, based on the recommendation back then, that was another thing I added. I had always taken 2 things of Pro Arginine a day, 2 scoops. I upped that to 4.
How cool is it that the product that we represent did this for you?
So you're 100% right. And you know me, right? With all the vitamin supplement business that's out there, you and I have talked about this. Like, is it real? Everybody's got their shtick, right? Let me sit there and bring one other thing on this interview or this testimonial. I was on a whole course of vitamins between multivitamins, D3, calcium, magnesium. And Jim sat there and said, where did you get your vitamins from?
Yeah.
And I'll keep the retailer out of it because I don't want to sit there and spit, bad news.
Yeah.
But he said, how about you do this for me? Get off everything. Get off of everything that you're taking because they're not good. Okay? And you want to go with a CMP product, and all that kind of good stuff. And it instantly takes you back to the synergy of the quality that you always talk about.
Yeah.
And I will sit there and say this. I will never take another product as a vitamin from anywhere else.
Combined, I think we have 20-something products. Combined, there's over 600 quality control tests done on all of them.
Here's the thing I want to sit there and also tell, anybody out there that's listening to this. If you need to speak to somebody, please get my information from Bobby D. I'm more than happy to sit there and talk to anybody individually, as a group, to give you my experiences and my encouragement.
Awesome. Love you, bro.